Right now, you are falling toward the sun, the only star you have ever known, and it fills the whole sky ahead of you. From here, it is no longer a disk. It is a wall of light, a churning ocean of fire that has no edge. But before you reach anything solid, something strange happens. You enter a part of the sun you cannot even see. This is the corona, the sun's outer atmosphere, and the moment you cross into it, you are inside a ghost. It is so thin, it is almost a perfect vacuum, far emptier than any air on Earth, and yet it is unimaginably hot. Around you, the temperature climbs past 1 million degrees. In places, it reaches 2, even 3 million degrees. Here is the first impossible thing. The surface below you, the part that glows, is only about 5,500 degrees. So the thin, empty atmosphere is hundreds of times hotter than the bright surface it floats above. Nothing on Earth works this way. Imagine walking away from a fire and feeling it grow hotter, not colder. That is the riddle you are now falling through. Scientists call it the coronal heating problem, and it is one of the oldest unsolved mysteries in all of astronomy. Something is pouring energy into this thin gas, far from the surface. We can see the result. We still cannot fully explain the cause. Look around, and the corona reveals its shape. It is not a smooth haze. It is woven from glowing threads of plasma. These are the coronal loops, ribbons of superheated gas bent into great arches by the sun's magnetic field. The whole atmosphere is sculpted by magnetism, invisible lines of force that trap the plasma and guide it into curves and crowns. Many believe the answer to the heat hides here, in this tangled magnetic field, snapping and reconnecting far above the surface. Each time those magnetic lines break and rejoin, they release a burst of energy, like a whip cracking in the gas. Millions of these tiny releases, all across the sun, may be what keeps the corona so ferociously hot. Now feel the corona move. It is not still. It is leaking outward in every direction, into space, including the space behind you. This is the solar wind, being born around you, a constant stream of particles flowing off the sun at up to 1 million miles per hour. You are inside its source. The wind that paints the auroras on Earth begins right here, in the gas you are falling through. Then, somewhere off to your side, the corona flashes, a brilliance brighter than everything around it. A solar flare has erupted, a sudden explosion of light and radiation, the most powerful kind of blast in the solar system. The largest flares release the energy of billions of hydrogen bombs in just a few minutes, and you are watching one from inside. The flash floods you with X-rays and ultraviolet light. On Earth, this same burst can disrupt radios and satellites in moments. But the sun is not finished. Something far larger is tearing loose from the corona near the flare. A coronal mass ejection, a vast cloud of magnetized plasma, billions of tons of it, hurled outward into space. It rises like a continent breaking free, expanding as it goes, racing away at up to millions of miles per hour. If a cloud like this strikes Earth, it can spark geomagnetic storms, dazzling auroras, and threaten our power grids from 93 million miles away. From where you fall, it is simply the sun shrugging, casting off a piece of its own atmosphere as if it weighed nothing. Now your fall carries you past something even more astonishing. An arch is rising from the surface below. A solar prominence, a vast loop of cooler, denser plasma, suspended in the corona by magnetic fields and glowing a deep red. It towers above you, larger than dozens of Earths stacked end to end, hanging in the void like a frozen wave of fire. Some prominences stay calm for weeks. Others grow unstable and erupt, flinging their plasma out across the corona in seconds. You drift past its base, and the scale finally breaks your sense of size. You are a single mote inside a structure born from a star. Below the prominence, the corona begins to fade. The thin, ghostly light gives way to something thicker and brighter. You are crossing the chromosphere now, a turbulent layer where spikes of gas leap upward like a forest of flames. And beneath it, at last, the surface, the photosphere, the boiling skin of the sun, the part our eyes can actually see. It is not solid, it is a churning sea of plasma, divided into countless cells of rising and sinking gas, called granulation. Each glowing cell is the size of a country, a column of hot plasma welling up, cooling, and sinking back into the depths. Scattered across it are the sunspots, darker and cooler regions where the magnetic field punches through, each one wider than our world. You have crossed the entire atmosphere of a star, the crown, the wind, the flares, the great red arches, all of it behind you now. And here you pause, at the edge of the surface, with the question still burning around you. How can something so thin be so hot? How can the air of a star outshine its own fire in temperature, just out of reach of every answer? The sun has warmed every life that has ever lived, and we have stared at it forever, yet its outer breath still keeps its oldest secret. And as you hover at the boiling edge of our star, that mystery is the one thing falling never solved, only made you feel.